Chess friends, how are you? Norway Chess is an elite over-the-board tournament in Stavanger, Norway. In this event we have top 10 players including Magnus, Hikaru, Wellesley, Fabiano and so, Fabiano, Caruana, have white pieces against Magnus. Let's go. Fabi started with e4, we have e6 French defense, d4 d5, you can push the pawn or take it, there is many openings and Fabi chooses to play knight c3, Magnus played knight f6, e5 and the knight looks like he become passive but after knight d7. It targets to the pawn and c5 is coming with the bishop, queen will come to the b6 to pressure the structure, that's the plan behind French defense, that's why Fabi played f4 to stable the position, we have c5 knight f3, Fabi developed his kingside pawns and Magnus have the queenside pawn strategy with pawn rush, knight f6 bishop goes to e3 a6 knight back to e2. Fabi's idea is to push the c-pawn, to stable the structure because the queen is coming to b6 square to target this and this b-pawn which Magnus played in the game, targeting to the pawn so we have queen c1 bishop to e7, c3 castle, in this position Fabiano could play h4 which is the best move, there would be a plan to attack in the h-file, then after king f2 king g1 king will be safe, play d takes c5 bishop takes knight d4 then bring your bishop on this diagonal to target the king side with queen. f5 will be a threat, but here we have g5, he wants to use his bishop on this diagonal, so Magnus played f6 to break the f-file for the rook, bishop g2 pawn takes, c takes d4 queen a5 check knight blocks on c3 knight comes to b6 to go to c4 square to pressure the bishop and the pawn, we have e takes f6 bishop takes, b3 to stop the knight entering points, bishop e7 castle, rook c8 queen d2 bishop, back to e7 and Magnus Carlsen's idea is to play bishop b4 to pin the knight in front of his queen. Then retreat your knight on e7 to target the knight with 1 2 3 pieces, so Fabiano removes his knight from there to give queen exchange offer which Magnus accepted, bishop takes d2 rook c7, his idea is to step back the knight to get a better outpost to control center squares because the knight on b6 is not worthy as it should be, we have rook c1 with the tactic with bishop a5 to pin the knight. Knight will not able to take the bishop because of this, so we have rook c8 f5 to sacrifice a pawn. If you dare to take the pawn, then bishop f4 will simply lose your rook on c7, Fabi would show middle finger to Magnus Carlsen, so in this position Magnus played bishop to a6 to target the rook, rook e1, if you take it then bishop f4 will come, rook is x-ring the e6 pawn, okay bishop b4 to target the bishop. So we have bishop takes bishop knight takes b4 f takes e6 bishop takes knight to f4, and these knights position I liked very much, bishop f5 knight to e5, g6 by Magnus to stable the position. This drac squares are target for white but white have not drac square bishop which Magnus noticed, more importantly the light square. Diagonal is weak at the same time where the bishop have lead improvement, so after g4 Magnus played bishop e4 to cover the diagonal from the light bishop. Bishop takes e4 pawn takes e4 a3, it's not the correct move, best was to play g5 to control over these squares, knight d5 rook takes pawn, Magnus played rook c3 which is a mistake move best move was to take the knight, because of rook c3 white gets an opportunity to play knight d7, brilliant move, if you take the knight, let me show you the variation. Knight takes d7 then knight takes d5 will target the rook. Rook takes b3 and the king position is critical, knight e7 check, king h8 knight takes rook and that's it, white will completely win the game, so back to the position, best was to play rook c1 with the supporting of the rook, but Magnus played rook takes b3 which is another mistake because after knight takes d5, if you take this knight then knight e7 will fork your king and rook, so knight takes d5 rook e5 to target the knight. Try to eliminate the knight f6 square for the white knight. Knight c3 knight f3 check and that's it, Magnus calculates the losing position and he decided to resign the game, he regrets for not practicing the chess game, he was celebrating party and dancing with Botez girls, playing poker like an idiot, that's why he lose the game, the king is totally exposed, if you play king h8 let me show you the variation, then rook e7 will come to checkmate in one move, that's why you have to play knight e2 check. King h1 rook goes to h3 to protect the pawn on h7, rook takes knight and white will completely win the game, so back to the position, if you play king f8, then d5 will come, b5 d6 rook d8 to target it, so knight e8 discover check king to g8 knight check here takes here check f8 d7, this is coming to destroy you so you have to play rook takes pawn, knight takes pawn and white will win a rook which means, he will win the game, so back to the position. King g7 will lead the same pawn progress and same lead advantages, though I played king f7, I am showing you the checkmating sequences, and chess friends, if you want to become smart in chess then you can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel where you will get chess contents from me. Wish you all the best, thanks for watching, subscribe for more, bye bye, take care, see you soon.